Subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to never miss an update.
This is only because of you that the future generation will probably have, we might go through another something very similar like COVID-19. People's behavior probably would not have changed. But I think this grateful and very sad state of affairs that we are going through right now is probably going to transform the entire human race.
One of your special areas of expertise is retail marketing, and between the e-commerce boom of the last couple of decades and what's happening today around the whole COVID-19 situation, how do you think the consumer behavior is evolving in the retail marketing space?
I think this is a very interesting situation, very interesting phase in the history of human development that we are going through right now. The new normal that you are witnessing, I think this is phenomenal and completely unprecedented. It had defied all possible physical laws, all possible predictions, all possible forecasts. I think the new consumer behavior for tomorrow, as Mr. Sanghvi rightly pointed out. So we were already witnessing from brick and mortar, India was moving forward to embrace the new order of electronic commerce. So consumers were getting more comfortable to buy at the click of their fingertips. The mobile wallet or the payment gateways completely revolutionized, as it was revolutionized earlier by the cash on delivery model. So we were comfortably migrating, rather saying we were tiptoeing to that stage. But this is a kind of leapfrogging that is possibly going to happen. And we have already started witnessing companies like Dunzo, companies like Grofers, companies like YMG, trying to collaborate with each other, trying to bring products at the customer's doorstep. So there are issues. It's of course, there's a lot of struggle that's going to happen, and consumers will find it really challenging to embrace everything at one go. But I'm certain that as we move from a completely frilled economy where we're so used to the luxuries of life, luxuries of getting or buying online from, not only from the Amazon store, but from the Amazon global store, which personally I did quite often to buy books from the Amazon global store, to an economy which is absolutely low frill or no frill. So even I think today consumers are willing to pay a premium over the maximum retail price or street retail price of the products. They are willing to pay a premium just to get the products delivered. So of course, there is a change. And of course, this change necessitates a change in buying behavior, a change in the way that we have perceived products are priced, products are retailed, and the way the products are going to be available for the future. So a lot of flexibilities are required in terms of our reasoning, in terms of our perception, in terms of our behavioral architecture, at the point of click, in terms of comforting ourselves, in terms of reducing our dissonance. So when I don't see my brand available on Amazon, and when I see the particular place that I reside in Mumbai is not serviced by Amazon, so of course there is a sense of deep frustration. But slowly, I think as a consumer, I am getting used to it. I'm getting used to, because when I look forward to, I still have 101 reasons to believe that as a consumer, I am gifted. I am so blessed because I still have the products getting delivered to my doorstep. Think of the remaining 129 crore Indians who are still not as privileged as I am. So once I see that, once I see the world around me, once I see the more developed economies struggling to remain in terms of parity with how many number of deaths is going to witness the next day, and whether there will be a sanity amongst their citizens to absorb the fact that the country is on a steep decline in number of people who are still alive. I think this is phenomenal. So buyer behavior is going to take a change. Of course, it's going to take a change, and we'll find consumers who are more open, more flexible, more adaptive, and of course, more compassionate. I think the element of compassion, the element of empathy was lost in the last couple of years when we were getting so used to in getting the products that we really wanted and we delivered. Money could have bought everything. Now suddenly the world has been able to realize the fact that money doesn't necessarily buy and can buy anything. There are a lot of impediments in the process of acquisition and one's self-development. I think that's a wonderful move. Of course, it's a little painful as we go through the process, but behavior is going to take a structural change.
So what about the behavioral change that is going to come out because of the safety concerns, the health concerns that have become top of the mind because of the whole COVID-19 situation? In terms of that, there's going to be a specialized focus on safety and on hygiene. How is that going to impact retail spaces, retail marketing from here on?
Wonderful. I think as we again move post COVID-19, again we are going to witness this more dramatically. So already, while I talked about the changed buyer behavior, I think post COVID-19 you will witness attitude toward fellow consumers would change dramatically. So there will be a lot of skepticism. There will be a lot of apprehension, concern about whom do we talk to, whom do we come in proximity. I'm talking about the physical proximity, the physical space. So when you probably have witnessed in US grocery store at the cash wrap, the discipline was already there. I had seen in Singapore, I had seen in United States that when you are at the checkout counter, there's already an 1.5 feet, 2 feet distance that consumers usually maintain. Whereas in India, it is more of coming in close proximity, and there is all chaos and confusion. Who wants to go first in and check out first? I think this reinforcement of discipline just for the sake of physical hygiene, I think that is going to take front seat. So Indian consumers per se, in particular, I can say from a developing economy perspective, is going to be more concerned about physical hygiene, physical space. As a shopper, shopping etiquette, I think these are some of the new things that new traits that you possibly witness amongst the Indian consumers who would be now moving to the brick and mortar space for their shopping needs. So that's going to be a change. Also, there'll be a lot of concern about the consumption, that the food that we do. We have been talking about for quite some time regarding food tracking and traceability, where the food is produced, how it is produced, when it is produced, the methods of harvestation, the methods of the agricultural husbandry, which has been used to produce the food. So now the entire exercise of food tracking and traceability is also going to take a center stage. Now consumers will ask for complete traceability of their products. Thus, we have the QR codes. I think the new age consumers post COVID-19 will have the flexibility or the option to scan the QR codes to know exactly the individual nodes and links that the product has passed through before it has reached the consumer's hands. So I think that would probably put a lot of strain on the supply chain, on the value networks, but at the end of the day, that is going to probably make the value network supply chain much more efficient, much more agile, much more visible. The biggest challenge for the food and grocery retail in our country was the partial visibility or the complete opacity of our supply chains. I think that's going to change and change for the better. So every turbulence that brings before us, I think also promises to us opportunities to improve ourselves, opportunities to find out where we really lacked, where we really had minuses, and how to grow from that, how to be more robust. So COVID-19 has probably taught us that I think healthcare was something that we probably have ignored. We have taken a lot of interest in all other aspects of the society that we see around us. But from now onward, I'm sure each and every, not only Indian, but each and every global citizens will have time to think about personal fitness, personal hygiene, personal space, and that will actually have manifestations as a consumer. That will change him as a consumer. That will change him as a buyer. More compassionate, more sensitive, and more thoughtful about intergenerational equity. No matter how much you write, no matter how much you publish talking about sustainability, but until unless it comes back to you and say, hey, this is only because of you that the future generation will probably have, we might go through another something very similar like COVID-19, people's behavior probably would not have changed. But I think this greenful and very sad state of affairs that we are going through right now is probably going to transform the entire human race and make them much more prudent, much more compassionate, much more sensitive consumers of tomorrow.
Okay. I wanted to ask you, where did you develop interest in marketing, consumer behavior as the areas that you want to specialize in, as the areas that you want to deliver to the classrooms all over the country and world?
I think it was all about my initial days in marketing and sales at Monsanto, which probably had triggered in me that the ultimate acid test for any company's initiatives, whether it is a product development initiative or whether it is a restructuring strategic initiative, ultimate acid test lies with at the final mile, at the zero moment of truth, which is the time that you spend with your customer. So that is where I thought that this is where probably my passion lies, my interest lies, understanding what the customer is really looking forward to, and not what the customer is buying, but what the customer is actually doing. So I learned a lot of my initial marketing training. I learned from the field. I learned what the customer is probably aspiring to. I tried to understand that. I tried to visualize that, conceptualize that. And also during my industry days, I spent a lot of time doing homework about my customer. From simple things, if I have to meet a garden manager at a tea garden, at a tea estate, I spent at least a day before to speak to the places that he visits. For example, in Shilchar, there are a few clubs. So I went to the club and I met people and I asked about them. I went to the blue books and I learned about the company. I learned about the garden, the acreage, the green tea leaf yield. So there was a lot of homework that I probably did before I met my first customer. I also learned a little bit about the family, his ecosystem, his employees and the relationship with employees. So I know before I am meeting my first customer, I am confident that I have information about him with whom I am meeting. So that gave me support when I discussed with him, I talked with him. And this is where probably I picked up my knack for marketing. And then when I actually studied MBA, I think the passion grew further. It grew more strongly. The more I learned about marketing, and then I could now at this stage, I can visualize the deep lying interconnectedness of marketing with finance, marketing with information technology. Each doesn't, or it's more of a symbiotic relationship. I think no one can live without the other. And the kind of, I think, interfaces it makes, and ultimately when we move to a completely consumer-centric world, I think marketing probably is one of the reasons for existence. Companies still are there and are working and looking forward to the new dawn.
If you could tell me what your journey towards becoming a teacher has been, like as a student back in college, how have you undergone the journey of becoming a professor in a top B school like NITIE today?
I think it all happened by accident. I never ever dreamt of becoming a teacher. I was working for a company called Monsanto. It was about managing the North Indian plantation division, and I was looking after the marketing and sales operations for the company, traveling all across the northeastern states, managing territories, managing key accounts. So enjoying my job, to be honest. So between 2001 December, where I took my first session in engineering college, and now in 2020 at NITIE. I think the journey is long, but definitely it is enjoyable. So in between, I also had some time spent as a visiting assistant professor at IIT Delhi, some brief period of time at SP Jain Institute of Management and Research at Mumbai. Subsequently, 2007, I joined NITIE as an assistant professor in marketing. So that has been the journey so far. Extremely enjoyable. At the same point of time, I'm really grateful that the ecosystem has enabled me to learn so much. And fortunately, touchwood, I think I still remain loyal to my learnings in the industry, and I've never lost touch of them. But that moving going forward, because social media is going to be in a big way. Already social media commerce has started gaining traction pre-COVID-19, and it will gain further traction, further momentum post-COVID-19 scenario.